Folks, as much as I hate to break kayfabe, this is some important stuff. There's a link below for the New Zealand Red Cross relief efforts for Colombia, and no doubt your Red Cross has one too. Anything you can spare is a big help, and we are sending a whole lot of love from Linwood to Medellin and all of Colombia. Kia kaha, Colombia, and Viva Colombia. Wrestling fans of the internet, welcome back to another episode of the MainLine at Linwood Wrestling Legends. As always, we are coming to you live and direct from an abandoned warehouse in Linwood. So if you love wrestling as much as we do at Linwood Wrestling Legends, then you gotta step up and step on that MainLine. As always, I am your faithful host and color commentator, John. We are just 4 weeks out from the inaugural Chico Hernandez Memorial Rumble, but there is a whole lot that can happen in 4 weeks. There's going to be plenty of it happening tonight, so let's go ringside right now and see the action for ourselves. Well, alright, here comes Grigori Kalishnikov. Let's see what he's got for us today. And folks, just a reminder, we are working on it, but his English isn't quite there yet. I don't suppose any of you guys in the crowd speak Russian. That'd be a really big help. I think I know what he's talking about. That match last week with Los Satanicos? Bit hard to understand the Cyrillics though. Let's take a look at that clip. Whenever Ernie the cameraman feels like it. Oh yeah, I remember this one, and that move right there bears a striking similarity to the Siberian crucifix. I did wonder at the time if that was going to come back and bite Elio in the ass. Takes commands from a what? I'm guessing that's Russian for witch. Seriously, anybody in the crowd speak Russian? That would be a really big help right now. Whatever Grigori's saying is pretty angry about it. And make no mistake, folks, a wrestler stealing another wrestler's move, that's a big no-no. Mexican crucifix? Well, that's the first I've heard of it. I hate to speculate wildly, folks, but I've got a feeling we're going to be doing this one the hard way. And to be fair, all three of those bears had been huffing aeroplane fuel, which, believe it or not, is something bears in Siberia do. I'm not even kidding. Look it up, folks. And I'm probably better off not knowing what Grigori wants to break in half. Whatever it is, it can't be good. It looks like we are doing this one the hard way. And apparently we're doing it now. I guess that sucks for whoever's match is getting bumped for this one. But then again, I get the same crappy paycheck no matter who's in the ring, so whatevs. Referee Henrietta Sorensen rings the bell and Elio comes running in with a big boot. This is the match to decide who gets the Siberian/Mexican crucifix. The winner gets to keep it, the loser's gotta think it's something else. And it looks like we're already underway with an avalanche. I like where this is going. Up and over into the fireman's carry. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of avalanche before. Oh, that was nasty. And technically not really an avalanche, so it doesn't get a replay. Maybe try a little harder next time, Elio. But believe it or not, folks, this is not the first time we've had a match like this. Can you get the pin? 1! And there's the seesaw. Ooh, kick out. Last year, Ogadai Khan and Hamish Gunn came into conflict regarding the ownership of a particular move. They had a match to determine it, Ogadai won it, and that's why he got to keep the Huawei Powerbomb, while Hamish Gunn had to think it's something else. There's the weapon to the corner and the clothesline. And hey folks, what do you think of this tube saturation and reverb I got going on with my voice? Be sure to let me know in the comments, but right now we got a slobber knocker. Mother always said try new things, so I thought I'd try a little tube saturation and reverb on the old pipes. And I gotta say, Grigori is really rocking that tracksuit. At the risk of generalizing, he comes from a part of the world where they have a very strong tracksuit game. They are giving as good as they're getting, but that one knocked him for a loop. And I gotta say, between beers huffing airplane fuel, peasants hijacking delivery trucks full of tracksuits, and uranium-enriched off-brand cola, Siberia sounds like a hell of a place. Grigori posting up off the middle rope. He's starting to take a bit of a lead in this match, and I got a feeling the Siberian crucifix will remain Siberian, and that was a lovely arm drag. And I don't know about any of you, but I think it's awfully convenient that referee Henrietta Sorensen was lurking by ringside. Usually she's out back vaping by the dumpster. Grigori working that beer hug, and up and over the ropes he goes. I'll wager Elio wasn't counting on this kind of resistance. Here comes Grigori, and this thing is going to the cardboard. Grigori lining him up, and there goes the knee drop. Grabbing the leg and going for a nasty stump puller. The staff veterinarian Francesca is probably just going to tell him to walk it off. That's what she told me when I sprained my Achilles tendon. Yeah, thanks for the hot tip there, Doc. Into the ropes he goes. And we got a Kalishnikov special off the rebound. Can he take the pin? 1, 2. Kick out on the 2, but let's take another look. We all know it, we all love it, so here's the Kalishnikov special in glorious slow-mo. Getting it off the rebound just added a little extra oomph. And what the hell is going on? This match is already unorthodox enough, and here comes Elio's brother Seraphine. I'm hoping for Kalishnikov's sake this won't turn into a 2v1. It's bad enough when you have to wrestle an impromptu match in your tracksuit, but 2 versus 1, that's just a little too far. Elio rolling him up. 1. And a kick out after the 1. It was a little sneaky, but you can't blame him for trying. Grigori taking him down with the sweep. This Siberian brawler is just getting revved up. And folks, I'm just looking at the card now, and apparently there was not a match scheduled. Elio catching the leg and firing back. And here comes the move in question. The Siberian/Mexican crucifix. There'd be a really cruel irony if that was the move to win. 1, 2. Ooh, nearly had him there. But let's take another look. This Siberian/Mexican crucifix is a devastating move. You can see why 2 wrestlers want to keep it in their arsenal. It's one of those real brute strength moves, and most importantly, it looks really, really, really cool. But like I was saying before, folks, apparently there was no match scheduled for the first slot. It says something here about Jonesy from the Cockney Pickpockets coming out and doing some juggling for us. So if that's what ended up getting bumped, thank God for the small mercies. And since when do we let our wrestlers come out here and juggle? Who the hell green-lighted that? Elio with the straight jacket DDT. But can you imagine if this Linwood crowd came here to see a wrestling match and all they saw was Jonesy of all people come out here and juggle? My God, I think they'd kick off. And that's why I'd like to remind whoever makes the booking decisions around here, this is not a goddamn variety show. But seriously, don't get me started on the booking decisions of this promotion. I'll be here all day. Into the fireman's carry and face first into the apron. But folks, could you imagine if every wrestler came out here and juggled? It's enough of an uphill battle as it is trying to get credibility for this promotion. Something like that would make us an absolute laughing stock. If Jonesy wants to juggle, he can just start a YouTube channel like everybody else. This one's gonna go back in the ring, and Elio is making that first step. If only Grigori will let him. Grigori looking to get the crowd revved up, and here comes Elio. That one could have ended very badly. Grigori gets him by the scruff of the neck, and we are going to the ropes. Nothing terribly fancy going on here. Just a cheeky little stomp with some assistance from the ropes. Posting up on the middle rope, and what have we got coming? Devastating falling elbow. Grigori looks like he's psyching himself up for something, and this could be it, folks. Grigori Kalishnikov looking to bring that Siberian crucifix home to Mother Russia. Down he goes, and is that going to do for the pin? 1, 2, 3. Grigori Kalishnikov takes the win. Let's go see some highlights from Ernie the cameraman. So there you have it, folks. The Siberian crucifix remains the property of Grigori Kalishnikov. In the wake of this defeat, Elio is just going to have to go back to the drawing board and think of something else. It's very unorthodox for us to have an impromptu match like this one, but I gotta say, I rather enjoyed that. Thanks to these two, we don't have to watch Jonesy from the Cockney Pickpockets come out and juggle, and that's something we should all be grateful for. I really hope that whoever booked that one will take its cancellation as a sign. This Linwood crowd and all the people watching on YouTube came here to see some goddamn wrestling. If we don't give it to them, they're just gonna have to eat up the slop the major promotions give them. And folks, that right there is a very cruel, horrible way to treat your audience. And most of us at Linwood Wrestling Legends are not cruel, horrible people. Congratulations, Grigori Kalishnikov. With this victory, the Siberian Crucifix remains the Siberian Crucifix. For Elio from Los Satanicos, time to go back to the drawing board. I've got no idea what he's going to come up with or who he's going to steal it from, but I'm sure we can look forward to seeing it in Los Satanicos' next match. As much as I enjoyed that little impromptu match we had before, we got something brand new. Good people of Ireland, for years you have cried out for a hero. The wrestling gods have heard your pleas and been moved, and here she is making her debut tonight. The Celtic Queen, Cerridwyn Murphy. Oddly enough, it was Hannabella who enthusiastically volunteered to be Cerridwyn's debut opponent. More to the point, Mr. Tickles the hand puppet who pulls Hannabella's strings volunteered her for this gig. And while I may think hand puppets making booking decisions sets a dangerous precedent, who am I to question the will of Mr. Tickles? Linwood, let's get it on! The following match is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, from Limerick, Ireland, she is the Celtic Queen, Cerridwyn Murphy. A big welcome to the Celtic Queen, Cerridwyn Murphy. Now folks, this may shock you, but sometimes even a paragon of integrity like yours truly isn't immune to a little bribery and corruption. Cerridwyn paid me $20 to read this little blurb, so here we go. Cerridwyn Murphy is the deadliest boxer / wrestler to ever come out of Ireland. Her biggest ambition is to kick Becky Lynch in the... Oh, can't read that word. Until her... I don't want to read that word. Falls out. Let's just clean it up and say she wants to kick Becky Lynch in the teeth until her back molars fall out. Ooh, think I cleaned that one up rather nicely. And her opponent, accompanied by her manager, Leatherface Lindy Dixon. From the depths of your darkest nightmares, she is Hannabella. Okay folks, we got a mask, we got a chainsaw, and we got Leatherface Lindy Dixon. Anybody else want to connect the dots? When I floated the idea of putting chainsaws and weed whackers in death matches, this is not what I had in mind. The really scary thing is that chainsaw is being controlled by Mr. Tickles, the hand puppet. I'm trying to do the math on how long it would take Mr. Tickles to saw through this announcer's desk I'm hiding underneath. It's one of those cheap IKEA pieces of crap, so I really don't like my chances. Best I can hope for is somebody else gets caught up and acts as a meat shield. And as much as I hate to sound like Big Brother, I think that if somebody like Hannabella walks into a hardware store looking to buy a chainsaw, there should be somebody to say, no, you can't have it. Referee Henrietta Sorensen rings the bell. Celtic Queen looking to rally her subjects in this Linwood crowd. Hannabella charging in and going low with that shotgun dropkick. Now folks, I did a little digging just now. Apparently Becky Lynch was Cerridwyn's biggest hero as a kid. But when she was 12, she finally got the chance to meet her at a fan convention in Belfast. According to Cerridwyn, when she asked for Becky Lynch's autograph, Becky was a total dick to her. Since that day, she has not only sworn revenge, but she blames Becky Lynch for all her problems, no matter how unrelated to Becky Lynch they may be. Hannabella squeezing her against the ropes, and I gotta say, Hannabella is a pretty tough break for your opponent in your debut match. But apparently that's the way Mr. Tickles wanted it, and now we got a slobber knocker. This right here might be a good opportunity for the Celtic Queen to showcase her boxing skills. And does anybody else find it incredibly odd that Mr. Tickles the hand puppet has so much pull around here? Say what you will about Mr. Iguana's hand puppet, Lajeska, but I guarantee you, Lajeska is not making any booking decisions at AAA. But don't quote me on that, because I have been wrong before. And down she goes, straight to the canvas. Nasty little stomp there to add a little insult to injury. Going for the diving elbow, but Cerridwyn rolls out of the way. It's going to take a lot of shots to wear down Hannabella's defenses, and maybe a boxer like Cerridwyn is just the woman for the job. But she better keep her eye on the ball. Hannabella shooting low and racking her up. 1. There's a seesaw. Ooh, another seesaw. 1. And another seesaw. And another seesaw. 1. And there goes the kick out. I don't know what's got into our wrestlers lately, but we've been seeing a lot of seesaws. Cerridwyn coming in with the backbreaker and the falling knee. The Celtic Queen takes a little bow. And I can see why some folks might think that a dyed-in-the-wool boxer like Cerridwyn Murphy is an odd fit for this promotion. Sweet Molly Maguire! Look at the height on that uppercut. We gotta see that again. And folks, bear in mind, we are looking at a woman that has destroyed over 12 heavy bags during her boxing career. So as I was saying, Cerridwyn Murphy might be a bit of an odd fit, but we've already got a capoeirista, a disgraced former gymnast, a disgraced former magician, a sleazy male stripper, and whatever the hell Linwood Knight is. We take a bit of a Sir Mix-a-Lot approach to this promotion. When other promotions take their wrestlers and toss them and leave them, we pull up quick to retrieve them. That right there is a hell of a lot of weight to be crushed in the corner by. God only knows what's running through Hannabella's brain. It's officially tickle time, and Mr. Tickles is feeling especially bloodthirsty. Oh, the humanity. Tickle time is a horrific thing to experience for any wrestler. Let's take a closer look at what makes it so horrific. Mr. Tickles tells Hannabella what to think and what to do, and he is 100% in control right here. If anything, this has become a 2-versus-1 match. I'm a little concerned that the Celtic Queen might not be able to beat Mr. Tickles. We got another slobber knocker jumping off. I don't know how smart it is to start one of these with a former boxer, but strategy has never been Hannabella's strong suit. These two seem to be giving as good as they're getting. And in a slobber knocker, you gotta get it while the getting's good. But you want to be the giver and not the receiver. And what a beatdown Hannabella just received. She's gonna be seeing stars in a little cartoon bird. And what do we got here? How about them hands from the Celtic Queen? Can she get the pin? 1, 2. Oh, kick out just before the 2. But we gotta see that in slow motion, because that hand speed on display right there is absolutely blinding. Hannabella just got worked over like a speed bag. The tide is starting to turn for the Celtic Queen, and she's looking to fly high, like some sort of majestic Irish bird, possibly a pigeon. Cerridwyn flying high and clocking Hannabella with a vicious crossbody. And here's something else I've unearthed with a bit of digging. At one of Cerridwyn's boxing matches, she saw a guy in the front row with a Becky Lynch shirt. So naturally, she jumped the barricade and broke the poor guy's hand. And thus ends the boxing career of Cerridwyn Murphy. I guess you could kinda blame Becky Lynch for that one in a very roundabout way. Into the fireman's carry. But she is not staying there. Leatherface Lindy Dixon playing silly buggers with a turnbuckle pad. You gotta wonder, how's that gonna pay off later? Hannabella firing off a few stiff shots of her own. And here it comes. Ow! Suplex against the apron. Hannabella says have a nice day, but she doesn't really mean that. If anything, she wants Cerridwyn Murphy to have a crappy day. And she wants... Oh, no. Don't do it, Hannabella. Resist what Mr. Tickles is telling you. Oh, thank God for the small mercies. Hannabella whipped into the barricade. And if anybody at the barricade is wearing a Becky Lynch shirt, you might want to turn that inside out, at least for the night. Better still, why not pick up a new Celtic Queen shirt from our merch stand? Cerridwyn better hurry and get back in the ring post-haste. Hannabella going topside. Leatherface Lindy throwing her back in, and there goes a massive body splash. But it looks like the Celtic Queen is revving up for something big, and here it comes. And that was the one that did the damage. First blood. And oh, look at that. Referee Henrietta Sorensen has to replace a missing turnbuckle cover. And we got a rope break. Let's take another look at that devastating combo. The Celtic Queen is running on pure adrenaline and throwing the punches in bunches. We are seeing some devastating striking from our new acquisition. It's nice to know that our developmental program isn't a total garbage dump. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still mostly a garbage dump, but occasionally you'll come across the odd diamond ring floating in that septic tank. And if any of our wrestlers in developmental take issue with that, then prove me wrong by learning how to do a proper headlock. Hannabella's really got to be rethinking this match. Cerridwyn going for a bit of a cloverleaf submission, but we got a rope break. If Mr. Tickles really did tell Hannabella to take this match, maybe he was just setting her up for a really cruel joke. Stiff shot to the breadbasket sends her down. Celtic Queen putting the Irish in the Irish whip, and up and over the ropes she goes. Hannabella looks like she's barely hanging on, and that shot rocked her, hitting the apron on her way down, and is there any coming back from that? Leatherface Lindy doing her best to distract Cerridwyn. Maybe she's buying Hannabella the time she needs. In she comes. Good night, Irene. Is that gonna do for the pin? 1, 2, 3. Cerridwyn Murphy takes the win. Let's go see some highlights from Ernie the cameraman. I gotta say, this was some pretty stiff opposition for a newcomer, but the Celtic Queen absolutely rose to the occasion. There's definitely something about her that this Linwood crowd likes, and you know what, so do I. It'll be very interesting to see how a striker like her goes against some of her other strikers, like Fernanda Cavalera or our champ Marisa Duvalier. But it's still early days for Cerridwyn Murphy. Pugilistic skills aside, there's a lot that's gonna come down to her ability to sell merch and put bums on seats. Once she figures that one out, she'll be cooking with gas. Congratulations to the Celtic Queen, Cerridwyn Murphy, for her victory in her debut match. Taking down an imposing monster like Hannabella is a tall ask, but she rose to the occasion, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else she can do. And does anyone want to buy my old Becky Lynch shirts? You know, folks, I'm sure it's happened before, but I'll be damned if I can remember the last time I saw these two wrestle each other. On the one hand, we've got the Boxburg Butcher Yonder Slagter. He's the dirtiest player in the game, but he is still hurting from the humiliation of that teabagging he got from the electric gigolo, Mustafa Korkamas. On the other hand, we got the Professor Jerome Scott. He's the best technical wrestler at this promotion, but he's been done dirty by this promotion so many times, and he's just looking for a lucky break. So who wins in a battle between dirty deeds and technical trickery? Let's go ringside right now and find out. The following match is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, representing Broforce 1 from Boxburg, South Africa, he is the Boxburg Butcher, Jan de Slagter. Are you tired of seeing wrestlers who don't engage in enough scumbaggery? If that's the case, then you may be very interested in what the Boxburg Butcher's got to offer. And let's be honest, we kinda know what we're getting at this point. And at the very least, I hope the Professor Jerome Scott knows what he's getting. And I hope if nothing else, he's wearing a protective cup. I don't care who the opponent is, but if they've got a match with Hernandez Slagter, they've just got to expect those low blows. If you're up against this guy and you're not wearing a protective cup, then that's on you, my friend. It's one of the very first things we've been trying to stress over in our developmental program. Let's be honest, if you're coming over from there to make your debut in the men's division, you're probably going to be either facing this guy or the Iceberg. If it's the Iceberg, you're in for an easy night. But if it's this guy, he's got a real thing for humiliating the new recruits. And apparently we're not punishing him for throwing the electric gigolo into Ernie the cameraman's car last week. General Manager Todd Sorensen said that because it happened in the car park, it's outside his jurisdiction. But if we're reading between the lines, I think it's because for better or worse, this guy puts bums on seats. And it's all about the merch sales and bums on seats. And his opponent, from Cleveland, Ohio in the United States, he is the Professor, Jerome Scott. Don't even get me started on how dirty the Professor has been done by this promotion. He's straight up the best technical wrestler on our roster, and if we can't find a place for him, then that's on us as a promotion. More to the point, that's on whoever does the booking around here, be that General Manager Todd Sorensen or Mr. Tickles the Hand Puppet. One thing's for sure though, John the commentator does not have any pull around here. I can't even get the Cockney pickpockets to stop pouring super glue in my bike lock. And seriously guys, that's not funny anymore. I'll admit it was kind of funny the first couple of times, but it's starting to wear a little thin, and I'm tired of reaching for the hacksaw every time I want to get on my scooter. Boxberg Butcher charging right in and not even waiting for referee Hojack von Gunder Schnitzelkrumm to ring the bell. He's looking to assert some dominance early on. It's a difficult one though, folks. The more you boo the Butcher, the stronger he gets. Here comes a little kinetic chess. And you certainly don't want to be in the position where you're not booing the Butcher. There's the drive into the ropes. Referee Hojack von Gunder Schnitzelkrumm separating the two, but the Butcher gets in a sneaky kick. Professor coming from out of nowhere with a sweet crucifix, which to the best of my knowledge is neither Siberian or Mexican. The Professor also has the highest IQ of anyone on our men's roster, which admittedly is a pretty low bar, but that's on account of him being a literal physics professor for his day job. The Slagter running in and dumping him with a bulldog. We're starting to hear those boo birds circling, and I'm amazed it's taken this long. Up and over the ropes he goes, knocking him senseless with a punch to the head. And here comes a suplex to the apron. The boo birds are starting to really come out now, and if this keeps up, we're gonna have to build them an aviary. I really don't like where this is going. Ow! Face first into the steel ring post. We could even hear a bit of a clang there, and the Butcher's looking pretty pleased with himself. Hopefully the Professor can get it together and mount a counter offense, and here it comes. Stiff shot across the bow and down he goes. Professor looking to wrench that arm, and fun fact, it only takes 15 kilos of force to break an arm at the elbow. Jerome Scott getting that fish hook in and going for a fisherman brainbuster. 1, 2, kick out on the 2. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. Great technical wrestling from Jerome Scott. He's the missing link between Bret Hart and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Boxberg Butcher looking to try something surprisingly technical, and there goes a Russian leg sweep. Now he's going topside. Going down, and there's a brutal double stomp to the old bread basket. The Butcher absolutely lives for the roar of the crowd, and as much as I may sympathize, all those boos are just egging him on to try something dirtier and dirtier. The Slagter going low with a running Meteora. Looking to go for an early pin, but can he make it stick? 1! Kick out just before the 2. There's still a long road to hoe as far as this match is It was only a matter of time. You know, I'm not even shocked or surprised anymore. We got a little collar and elbow and the Butcher looking to go for the whip, but there's a reversal. Straight into the opposing turnbuckle. Professor looking to stick another armbar, and can he make him tap or snap? Please God, make him snap. I would consider that kind of thing a belated birthday present, but unfortunately it's a birthday present I'm not getting. Maybe next year. And what do we got here? These two are absolutely throwing down. This one's got all the makings of a slobber knocker, and the Butcher's rolling out of the ring to safety. And where the hell is he going? Is he about to walk out on this match? Seriously? The second the match doesn't go his way, he's gonna throw his toys out of the cot? That is pathetic. And good gravy! It's the proletariat hero Grigori Kalishnikov. He is not letting the Boxburg Butcher weasel out of this one. Thank you, Grigori Kalishnikov, for keeping this match on the rails. And here's the Professor going for a sharpshooter as an homage to his biggest hero, Bret Hart. Once again, I'm really hoping for more of a snap than a tap, but I'll take it any way I can get it. The Slagter slowly powering his way out. It's going to take a little more work from the Professor to make any kind of submission stick. There goes the snapmare. Getting back to our feet. Sweet, merciful testicles. And I hope I don't get cancelled for saying the word testicles on the internet, but we all knew that one was coming sooner or later. Down goes the falling punch, and let's see that incriminating evidence again. Honestly, at this point, if you're not wearing a protective cup, that's kind of on you. But I hope the Professor came prepared. Butcher trying to get a cheap pin. 1, 2, kick out on the 2. But you know what strikes me as a little odd, folks? Last week, I got fined for saying the word but apparently the word testicles is A-OK. I have no idea what the logic behind... And there's another fine. That train's never late. But what do we got here? Boom, shaluck, luck, boom. We gotta take another look at that. The Professor is dropping some hard lessons in physics. And this is a little something called the gravitational constant, which as we all know is 9.81 meters squared per second. Jerome Scott seems to have shaken off that low blow, and he is still very much in this. Whip into the corner, but the avalanche attempt is denied, and there's the reversal. Butcher looking to get in the cheap shots, and that one threw him for a loop. And there's the alley-oop powerbomb. Jerome Scott has really been through the mill in this match, but he is not about to cry sassafras just yet. And there goes the JCVD kick, knocking him back down. 1, 2, kick out just before the 2, but let's see that again. Obviously, this one's named after the Boxburg Butcher's biggest hero, the one and only Jean-Claude Van Damme. The Slagter going topside and a humongous second-story elbow drop. This Linwood crowd is chanting "Fight Forever," and I gotta say that's really selfish of them. When are they supposed to eat or sleep? Good green eggs and ham! Back into the ring post, and we got first blood. With low blows and shots into the ring post already, one has to wonder what other horrible surprises does the Boxburg Butcher have planned. Ooh, how about that? Taste of his own medicine. Really couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But the best thing to do in this case is to walk it off, and he goes for a jog along the cardboard. They'll be looking to take this one back to the ring, and here we go. This match is back on the rails. Butcher hitting the shove. Oh my god, referee Hojak von Gunderschnitzel-Krumm is down. I repeat, referee Hojak von Gunderschnitzel-Krumm is down. And the Butcher is looking to do some scummy deeds. Going to work with that steel chair while the referee is down. What an absolute bastard. Up he goes into the fireman's carry. The Professor is dropping another hard lesson in physics. This time on the subject of centripetal force. And down he goes. Oh my god, Hojak, what have they done to you? Oh, there he goes. He's fine, folks. Professor looking for another submission. And there he goes. He makes the Butcher tap. Let's go see some highlights from Ernie the cameraman. I gotta say, folks, it's a nice feeling on those rare occasions when the good guys win. Jerome Scott had all kinds of crap thrown at him from the Butcher, but he persevered and put his trust in his technical wrestling skills and knowledge of physics. As Archimedes of Syracuse said, "Give me a lever big enough and I can move the world." Well, in this case, the Professor Jerome Scott found the lever to move the needle on this match. Congratulations to the Professor Jerome Scott for his victory tonight. There is something deeply humiliating about being made to tap out. The Butcher is not going to be happy about that. And I can't imagine that kind of thing is going to go down well with the other members of Broforce 1. But once again, folks, it may not happen often enough, but occasionally the good guys do win. And when they do, it's a great feeling. So congratulations, Professor Jerome Scott. When you become the biggest merch seller at this promotion, like Miss Venice Beach Candice Deveraux, you become the target of a lot of jealousy and envy. Everybody wants to take you down a peg or two, and tonight, our little firebug Brandy Dixon wants to be the one to do the honors. And she is looking to do that with the dubious supervision and assistance of her mama, Leatherface Lindy Dixon. So are we about to see our rightful queen knocked off her pedestal? Let's go ringside right now and find out. The following match is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, from Venice Beach, California in the United States, she is Miss Venice Beach, Candice Deveraux. All hail our rightful queen and biggest merch seller, Miss Venice Beach, Candice Deveraux. And speaking of Miss Venice Beach's merch, I am currently fighting General Manager Todd Sorensen tooth and nail to prevent the release of Miss Venice Beach anime body pillows. And while yes, I do understand that we'd make a killing selling those things to all the neckbeards out there, sometimes there are more important things in life than merch sales and bums on seats. And as it stands, this promotion's got enough black eyes already. This is where General Manager Todd Sorensen and yours truly do not see eye to eye. Normally I'd ask Todd Sorensen something like, how would you like it if somebody out there had a body pillow of you and they were doing God knows what to it? But I'm sure his first question would be, did they pay for it? I guarantee Miss Venice Beach does not want to be on any neckbeard's body pillow. And her opponent, accompanied by her manager, Leatherface Lindy Dixon. From Libertyville, Alabama in the United States, she is the Firebug, Brandy Dixon. And while I'm 100% not attracted to Brandy Dixon anymore, I gotta say, that new hairdo is really weak. No, don't do it, John. This is how we relapse. Ooh, better call my sponsor. Times like this, I just gotta take a look at Mama Dixon and remind myself, hey John, you wanna go through with this? That's what you gotta look forward to in 10 to 20 years. But alas, folks, these kind of things are really rational, and it's just one of those things I'm gonna have to keep fighting one day at a time. And I am definitely gonna have to call my sponsor after this show. Maybe even my therapist too. Referee Tom Herb rings the bell, and these two hellions are wasting absolutely no time. If this was a cartoon, we'd be looking at a big cloud of dust with flying limbs. Brandy hitting that code breaker and looking to assert a little dominance. God, that really tugs on my heartstrings. No, John, one day at a time. I'm a professional and I can do this. There's the whip into the corner. Brandy coming in with the flying Superman punch. She is laying on the verbal abuse and putting the boots. But Miss Venice Beach is not staying in the corner. Going low with the underhook arm drag. We got the drive into the ropes, and my God, now I see why they call her Leatherface Lindy Dixon. Just remember, John, that's Brandy in 10 to 20 years, but can she get the pin? One! And we got a rope break. Perhaps a little too early on Miss Venice Beach's part, and I gotta admit, I was kinda distracted by the repulsive ugliness of Mama Dixon. But folks, as strange as it may sound, if I can just focus on Mama Dixon's ugliness, then I think I'm gonna be okay. Brandy hitting that sleeper slam. Going for that soccer kick to the back and a brutal double stomp to the old bread basket. The verbal abuse and childish name-calling continues, and Brandy is a 6th-degree black belt. Lovely dragon screw from Miss Venice Beach. Running the ropes, and there's a leg drop. Into the ropes again, and there's another. And at the risk of complaining about bad booking again, I think it's long overdue for Miss Venice Beach to have a title shot. Hitting another leg drop like they're going out of style. And while I think Miss Venice Beach would make a really great women's champion, I would just be happy to see the championship taken away from Bro-Force 1. If Corey ends up taking some of our wrestlers, and those wrestlers have championships, Corey says he's gonna run our championship belts through a wood chipper on the show. That right there would be one of the most humiliating things to happen to our promotion. 1, 2, kick out after the 2. Miss Venice Beach determined to put this one away early and stitch it up. We've yet to see any significant resistance from our little firebug. And as we always wonder with Brandy's matches, are we going to see another human being set on fire? Candice Deveraux coming through with the flying shoulder tackle, and we are going to the cardboard. But not if Mama Dixon has anything to say about it. Mama Dixon's little ambush backfires and she finds herself in the ring. And there goes Miss Venice Beach. Brandy's following in hot pursuit, and this match is back on the rails. Brandy going low and kicking out the shins. And as somebody who's been kicked in the shins by Brandy many times, let me tell you, that ain't fun. And we got ourselves a genuine bona fide slobber knocker here. We're starting to see a bit of wear and tear on Candice Deveraux' face, but then again, she's faced much worse than this and come through it. And what did I tell you? You gotta learn to put a little trust in old John the commentator when he takes up for one of his wrestlers, and look what we got here. Lovely moonsault. 1, 2, kick out on the 2, but we gotta see that again. Miss Venice Beach doesn't break out the moonsaults often, but when she does, she absolutely sticks the landing. And if referee Tom Herb hadn't been preoccupied with that baseball bat, who knows? This fight could have ended there, but who knows? Maybe that baseball bat was a little insurance policy from Mama Dixon. Candice Deveraux grabbing Brandy by the scruff of the neck and face first into the turnbuckle. We have first blood. And because turnabout is fair play, Miss Venice Beach has some choice insults for Brandy of her own. And while a lot of people might underestimate the intellect of a beauty queen, Miss Venice Beach has a 138 IQ and she is not afraid to use it. There's the whip into the corner. A lot of force behind that one, and Brandy just bounces off. Mama Dixon laying in a little distraction ringside. Maybe this will give her darling little Brandy the time she needs to recover. And while I'm always dumping on the intellect, or lack thereof, of the men's division, we don't really have any rough analogues in the women's division. Hannabella is probably at the lower end, but that's a pretty extreme example, and we are taking this to the cardboard. Miss Venice Beach missing the leg drop. In comes Brandy going low with a basement shotgun dropkick. If I had to pick the smartest wrestler in the women's division, I'm gonna guess possibly the prototype Grigori Kalishnikov, and mostly because the jury's still out as to whether or not she is a robot. As for the smartest organic wrestler in the women's division, that's a tough one and I'm gonna have to think on it, but Miss Venice Beach is at least in the top 3. It's pretty rare we get 2 slobber knockers in a single match, but we are seeing it right now. And Miss Venice Beach seals the deal with a sweet uppercut. Zero mercy is being shown to Brandy Dixon, and that's exactly the amount of mercy Brandy Dixon would show Candice Deveraux. Diving senton bomb off the apron. It's looking pretty bad for our little firebug, and she's gonna need a miracle if she can come back. Brandy Dixon thumping her way to freedom, one shot at a time. I should mention that our women's division has no equivalents to the Cockney pickpockets of the Violator in terms of sheer idiocy. Good gravy, she just laid out Mama Dixon. Oh, can we say that again, Ernie? And here we see Candice Deveraux absolutely living the dream by cold cocking Mama Dixon. And hey Ernie, be sure to keep that footage because I want to use it as a screensaver on my laptop. Brandy Dixon making her way back to the ring, going topside. Taking flight and straight into a diving meteora. All Brandy can really do at this stage is keep piling on those cheap shots and hope for a lucky break. There's a little collar and elbow, and there goes the whip into the ropes. Sweet leg lariat out of nowhere. 1, 2. Kick out just on the 2. But Miss Venice Beach has had a lot of luck with that leg lariat from nowhere. People may or may not expect the Spanish Inquisition, but nobody expects the leg lariat, and we're gonna see an avalanche. And folks, I got a feeling in my gut, this is gonna be no ordinary avalanche. Good gravy, an avalanche beauty crown. The crowd goes wild. 1, 2, 3. Candice Deveraux takes the win with that sweet avalanche beauty crown. Let's see some highlights from Ernie the cameraman. I gotta say that Miss Venice Beach came into this one prepared. She had her head on a swivel for Brandy's dirty tricks the whole time, and nothing was gonna get past her. The presence of Mama Dixon was a bit of a rogue element, but nevertheless Candice Deveraux rose to the occasion. And folks, this may just be the opinion of one color commentator, but this promotion really needs to stop screwing around and give Candice Deveraux that title shot. It's taken her career this long to recover from the events of the Linwood screwjob last year, and I think she's finally ready for that final step. Congratulations to Miss Venice Beach Candice Deveraux on another well-deserved win. I'm really hoping the next time we see her in the ring, it's going to be challenging for that title. But then again, that would probably make too much sense, and apparently that's not how the booking works around here. I gotta say folks, there is a whole lot to unpack here for tonight's main event. We've got the mean girl Kimberly Sullivan and our chap La Femme Brutale and Marisa Duvalier forming an ad hoc tag team. And while I've heard a lot of stinkers in my time, the Bro-Ettes might just be the stupidest goddamn name I've ever heard in my life. And oh yes, did we mention, this match between Broforce 1 and Sector Del Muerte is a match for the literal souls of Felicia and Left Eye. But here we are, and this Linwood crowd is all rooted and liquored up. So let's crack on with the main event. The following tag match is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, representing Broforce 1, fighting out of Linwood, Christchurch here in Aotearoa, the mean girl Kimberly Sullivan and La Femme Brutale Marisa Duvalier are the Bro-Ettes. Folks, I said it before, I'll say it again. That right there is the stupidest name I have ever heard in my life. And last year we actually had a team called Shark Dog. So that's a pretty high bar. Nevertheless, these two haven't historically gotten along. So I give it about 4 or 5 minutes tops before they're attacking each other. There's not enough room in that ring for both of those egos. But then again, who knows? Maybe they'll really click as a team. Stranger things have happened. And their opponents, representing Sector Del Muerte and accompanied by the godmother La Madrina. From beyond the realms of death, Felicia and Left Eye are the Soulless ones. And speaking of stranger things happening, how did we find ourselves here, folks? Just right off the bat, I want to say for the record that I am deeply uncomfortable with necromancy, soul harvesting, and forced labor, and we are hitting that trifecta right here. If the Bro-Ettes can take the win tonight, Felicia and Left Eye's souls become the property of Broforce 1. If not, they remain the property of Sector Del Muerte, and Felicia and Left Eye remain shackled to their matriarch, La Madrina. To be honest, I just find myself wishing that some third party would step up and free these two from their bondage. But on the other hand, who could or would even do that? The only names that come to mind are the Coven, and they have been suspiciously quiet this whole time. And as much as I don't want to pick on them, they are a literal coven of witches. With magic powers comes magic responsibilities. Or so I'm told. I'm pretty sure I heard that one in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And if it was true then it's true now. I'm also kinda wondering where that creepy fog came from. Our fog machine has been on the fritz for 5 or 6 months, so I don't have an earthly explanation. If there's one thing I've learned during my time at Linwood Wrestling Legends, it's that there are some times where it's better not to ask too many questions. Whether it's the laws of physics being defied, or payoffs from a shady individual, don't ask no questions. Referee Zekajahira Mayabesh Jones rings the bell, and in comes La Femme Brutale with a rolling code breaker. Going for that armbar stretch. It's gonna take a little more than that to crack those supernaturally reinforced limbs. But she is determined to go to work and giving her the business with the good old ground and pound. And to be honest folks, I don't know who the hell I'm supposed to be rooting for here. Either way it shakes out, it's gonna be really bad for Left Eye and Felicia. But here's the really crazy part. Which government agency would we even report all these goings on to? Into the corner goes La Femme Brutale, but she is not staying there. Another rolling code breaker sends her down. To be honest, I don't even think there are any laws in New Zealand about necromancy and making zombies do your bidding. I for one think that's a gross oversight on the part of our lawmakers. And if you elect my Uncle Barry as Mayor of Linwood, believe me, that's gonna change. It's no exaggeration to say that my Uncle Barry is the Abraham Lincoln of zombie. Good gravy, look at that! Madrina gets clocked by one of the zombies she tried to weaponize. Let's see that irony again. And if nothing else, this is just desserts for trying to slip a chair into the ring. And down she goes. So anyway, as I was saying, with regard to the undead, my Uncle Barry is Abraham Lincoln, Simone Bolivar, and Pedro the Magnanimous all rolled into one. If you're suffering from zombieism like Felicia and Left Eye, my Uncle Barry will emancipate all of you. This message has been approved by John's Uncle Barry. Marisa coming in with the snapmare and the cheeky soccer kick. If all else fails, go to the ground and pound. Seriously, Uncle Barry? It's not enough I plugged your campaign for mayor? You really want to tell them that? Alright, you're the boss, I guess. And mercifully, there's a tag to Kimberly. And that is a sentence I never thought I would say. Oh, come on, that's just mean. But could we expect anything less from the mean girl? Let's take another look. So anyway, Uncle Barry wants you to know that if elected mayor, all senior citizens will get 10 free spins on the pokies. To be honest, I think that's a cheap bribe and it's kind of pandering, but I guess Uncle Barry knows his demographic. And what is the godmother thinking stepping in the ring? Kimberly coming off the ropes but whiffs the attempt at the wheelbarrow. And speaking of just mean, well that was just mean. No, Uncle Barry, I am not doing that. I stayed up all night designing those flyers, and I have done more than enough for your mayoral campaign. Left Eye going for the pin. 1. Kick out just after the 1. And as far as I'm concerned, Uncle Barry can employ the services of a campaign manager by exchanging currency like everybody else, which would have been really delightful if he had done that for me. Kimberly whiffing the cartwheel. We're seeing the mean girl off her game a little tonight, and into the corner she goes. There's the tag to Felicia. Left Eye giving her the business and working her over like a heavy bag. In comes Felicia with the big boot and Left Eye with the body splash. Felicia coming in hot off the slingshot with a devastating splash. Felicia coming in with a deadly falling punch. And folks, it's been a while since I've watched The Walking Dead, but I'm just really hoping these zombies don't have leprosy. The last thing we need is loose limbs being strewn all over the show. Although, funny story about that, it's no secret that sometimes when attendance is thin, we'll rent out some cadavers from the morgue to fill out the last couple of rows. Yeah, we kind of found out the hard way that we don't get our deposit back unless all limbs and appendages are present and accounted for. Felicia going for the pin. 1, 2, kick out on the 2. Incidentally, if any of you folks in the crowd come across any wayward appendages, just hand them in to one of our friendly ring crew. Kimberly looking to make that tag, and there it goes. This psychopath from Marseille is not playing around. La Femme Brutale has only brutality on her mind, and here comes some shenanigans with the turnbuckle covers. Referee Zeka Jeremiah Best Jones is on the job. Good gravy, we got brass knuckles. And is it even kosher to hit a zombie with brass knuckles during a wrestling match? We are in unknown territory, folks. All that matters is referee Zeka Jeremiah Best Jones didn't see a thing. It's another day at the office for Marisa Duvalier, but let's take another look at that incriminating evidence. Now folks, I have never been much of an armchair philosopher. I will be willing to admit that ethical questions like is it okay to hit a zombie with brass knuckles in a wrestling match are a little beyond me. That right there is a question best left to brighter minds than myself. Left eye, getting the roll up. 1. There's the seesaw. 1, 2. And another seesaw. 1. And the kick out. There's the tag to Kimberly Sullivan. And I gotta say, folks, this does raise other ethical questions. If Marisa was wrestling a werewolf like Shawnee from the Coven, would silver knuckles be kosher? Felicia coming off the springboard with a sweet missile dropkick. The mean girl is rolling out of the ring. Felicia looking to take flight, and that was a sweet corkscrew arm drag. Nobody does the high flying quite like the luchadoras, even the undead luchadoras. Going for another aerial attack but missing the mark. And just a reminder, folks, we still have 3 literal pallets of Las Gatas Calajeras catnip infused energy drink, so get them while they're hot, or in this case, room temperature. Kimberly thrown back in the ring, and this match is back on the rails. Zombification has apparently done nothing to diminish the sass of either Felicia or Left Eye. 619 feint into a spinning heel kick. That one always blows my mind. Kimberly's really gonna be wanting to make that tag. Felicia hitting the lowdown. Can she get the pin? 1, 2. La Femme Brutale coming in and saving the day at the last possible microsecond. Although she may wish it to be otherwise, it's not Kimberly time here in Linwood. And if you elect my Uncle Barry as Mayor of Linwood, we will never recognize Kimberly time in Linwood. Left Eye clocking her with a sweet dropkick, dragging her opponent away from the safety of the ropes. And once again, basic physical laws of the universe like the coefficient of drag go right out the window. Kimberly is looking in pretty rough shape. Left Eye getting the butterfly hooks, and there goes the sweet butterfly DDT. The mean girl is gonna want to make that tag real soon. In comes Felicia, and Kimberly's day just got worse, but she makes the tag. Crisis averted. Felicia hitting that wheelbarrow into a Hurricane Rana. Cheeky little hot shot on the outside from Kimberly. Knee strike into a lariat from Marisa Duvalier. La Femme Brutale looking to turn the tables. And there's the drive into the corner. Oh, are we going to see an avalanche? Maybe not, but here comes the next best thing. Devastating kick into the ankles and into a code breaker. If Marisa can do all the heavy lifting for this match, maybe the Bro-Ettes stand a chance. Good gravy, that was the Brazier du Visage. Marisa Duvalier is apparently taking my advice, and can she get the pin? Pin gets broken up by Left Eye, but let's see that again. This one's always a devastating move. It's starting to feel a lot like Marisa is the big bully who threatens people for their lunch money. Kimberly, on the other hand, she's the wimpy kid who follows the bully around, shakes her fist and says, "Yeah, when the bully threatens people for their lunch money. It's the same dynamic Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano had in DIY, so there is a precedent. Coefficient of drag? Never heard of it. Apparently everybody just glides like melted butter over a frying pan. Felicia sticking the butterfly hooks. Up and over the shoulder she goes. Shazam! That was an acrobatic cutter. And here comes a standing moonsault that's much better than the one Kimberly does. Just my 2 cents. Prove me wrong, Kimberly. 1, 2. Kick out on the tube. Let's take another look. Why don't you tell me, folks? Do you think the standing moonsault Felicia does is better than the one Kimberly does? Why not let me know in the comments? But I think we can all agree that Felicia's standing moonsault is a lot less obnoxious and self-serving. This crowd is chanting, "Let's see wrestling," and if that's what they're after, they came to the right place. Up and over the ropes goes La Femme Brutale. If they'd been chanting, "Let's see good wrestling," that might have been another matter entirely. The Godmother Madrina keeping a careful eye on the proceedings, possibly even muttering spells and incantations under her breath. Standing Spanish fly from Felicia. That's one hell of a move. And you know what, folks? I'm not going to say a damn thing about the coefficient of drag. That is not the hill I want to die on. Marisa looking to grab the ropes for support, but Felicia has other ideas. Posted up off the middle rope, and what has she got in mind? I think we're about to see some death-defying acrobatics. Booyah! Double spring crossbody. This catito can fly with the best of them. Into the corner she goes, and look at that 1-2 punch. Hot shot from left eye, and how's that for teamwork? And I never thought I would utter this sentence, but we're seeing some pretty good chemistry from both of those zombies. If they ever get cured of their affliction, they might want to keep this tag team going. Spinning heel kick, dropping it to the mat. The Soulless ones are very much taking the lead, and Felicia's looking to go topside. There's the tag to Kimberly. Aerial attack has been cancelled, but let's see what Kimberly's got for us. There goes the ripcord, and there goes the Spanish fly, or Mosca Española. Can she get the pin? 1, 2. Kick out after the 2, but we gotta see that again. Folks, I may rag on Kimberly Sullivan a lot, but I would never deny that she is a phenomenal gymnast. It's interesting to think about the Olympic career that might have been, had it not been for the unpleasantness. But Kimberly's gonna need all the unpleasantness she can muster at this late stage of the game. There's the whip into the ropes, and apparently we got a bit of a tug of war. Shotgun basement dropkick. Felicia hitting another fake out 619 kick, but nobody home. Kimberly sticks the cartwheel back elbow, getting in a few cheap shots where she can. Mean Girl hitting the springboard, and there goes the moonsault. Maybe there's still the tiniest flicker of hope for the Bro-Ettes. Into the corner goes Felicia, and there's the tag to Marisa. La Femme Brutale posted up on the middle rope, and down goes the falling axe handle. Nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Up and over into a back body suplex, and a sweet leg drop. Is that gonna do for the pin? 1, 2, and a kick out just after the 2. Marisa is not happy with that. But alas, the word of incorruptible referee Zeka Jeremiah Best Jones is law. Marisa taking a shot at left eye, pulling her through the ropes, and straight down into a DDT. Cutting off your opponent's supply lines and reinforcements is not a bad strategy. Felicia unloading with a barrage of strikes. There's the whip into the ropes and straight into referee Zeka Jeremiah Best Jones. But I think he's okay, folks. Felicia hitting that Frankensteiner. The undead Felicia says bring it on. Things are not looking good for the Bro-Ettes. Felicia having a whole lot of luck with that 619 feint and spinning back heel kick. Going topside again. And boom, there goes another lowdown. 1, and Kimberly comes to save the day, which is probably the first time any human being has used that expression ever. And here comes another standing moonsault. Can she get the pin this time around? 1, 2, 3. The Soulless ones take the victory. Let's go see some highlights from Ernie the cameraman. Now folks, this has been a real strange one. On the one hand, we had an ad hoc tag team of 2 single stars who hate each other's guts. They were up against a team of 2 zombies. It was a match for the literal souls of those 2 zombies, which unfortunately will remain the property of Sector Del Muerte and the godmother La Madrina. We here at Linwood Wrestling Legends don't have any rules about zombies or the participation thereof. We never thought it would come up, and we are in uncharted territory. And once again folks, I am unsure, but here come our champs, Las Sicarias, Mercedes Cortez and Veronica Mendoza. They are not about to tolerate any threat to their titles, be that threat living, dead, or undead abominations like Felicia and Left Eye. Well folks, I'm sad to say it, but that is all the time we have for this week. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you loyal hounds of Linwood Wrestling Legends for tuning in and watching this week. I've been putting a lot of work into this show for a long time, and it's starting to feel like it's bearing fruit. But once again, that's 100% thanks to all of you wonderful people. So don't be shy about leaving a comment here and there and letting me know you're a real flesh and blood human being. As always, we got a whole other show of carnage and chaos next week, so be sure to tune in for that. It'll be exactly like this episode in many areas, but completely different in all the areas that count, if that makes any sense. But until then, oh loyal hounds of Linwood Wrestling Legends, this is your host, color commentator, and good buddy John, once again signing off and signing out.